Well, good morning, everyone. I want to take a moment and thank you all for tuning in to this broadcast, our Zoom event today. Today's going to be a very exciting opportunity because what the intention of today is to bring specific, unusual keynote speakers to you, people that we don't normally have a connection with, to discuss what happened last year or this past year in 2020 and what we can anticipate looking forward to. And I suppose we could say anticipate looking forward to in 2021 in order to build our business plans for 2021, which obviously we should be well underway with that endeavor. We need to be able to understand what took place this year. What are the obstacles that took place? What were our successes that took place, so that we can quantify what was done in order to understand what we may need to do to modify our behavior next year to be able to achieve great results. In order to do that, of course, we have to have the finite information, the benchmarks, if you would, of what's going on in the industry. In addition to that, part of this is also not only for ourselves, but I do know that we do have a few consumers with us today. And so as non-realtors, and so as to them, part of this goal today is for you to also understand what's taking place in the market. A little different than what maybe is reported or purported in mainstream media. And of course, whatever we listen to on national broadcasting networks is national news, not necessarily local Arizona news. And there's always uniqueness when you are hyper-local and, in each culture, in each operation, each part of the country. So hopefully there'll be some insights shared today. At least that's our anticipation, in which can help you with your investing efforts, your refinance investments, and refinancing and things of this nature. So obviously there's advantages for all of us. And then finally, there's an advantage for us as realtors to be able to share this information, the fruit of our study, with our fellow consumers and fellow agents who maybe aren't on the call today. You can probably take some of this information, bring it back to your office meetings. That way we can really get the maximum exposure out of what today brings. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in and also being timely in tuning in. We have some sponsors with us today, 5 sponsors. We're not going to listen to all of them all at one moment. We have one sponsor now. When Dr. Yun is finished, we'll have another sponsors. We'll take a little bit of a break after the Commissioner Lowe speaks, and then we'll come back and listen to Denise Holliday, who is a very well respected attorney in town that deals specifically in residential investing, property management, things of this nature. And then, of course, we'll finish up with Michael Duville. We'll go through each of those on the slides. You've had an opportunity to see exactly what each person does. And I will do a nice introduction prior to their actual presentation. So at this particular moment, I'd like to introduce Amy Lanway. She's with the Justin Fredericks team at Fairway Mortgage. She is one of our sponsors, and we want to thank all of them very much for helping us put this together today. Amy?
Hi, thank you, Todd. It's so great to be a part of this event today and listen to what all these keynote speakers have to say. So one thing that we've really learned in 2020, well, not really learned, but it's lenders' time to shine this year with all the competitive offers out there and so many offers on a single home. Us as lenders have really gotten a chance to step up and show how valuable we can be to your business and to your buyers as far as getting their offers accepted. We're able to pick up the phone, talk to the listing agent, and really walk them through how we operate as a team. We have 5 licensed loan officers on our team, so we're we take a lot of pride in speed of service. If you need a pre-qual on the fly, there's going to be somebody that's always going to answer the phone. So we're very proud of that. We are here for your buyers as well, for the consumers that are on. Again, we are just very proud of the communication style we have. If you're a first-time home buyer and you need your hand held, I am here for you every step of the way, from helping you with inspections or home insurance people. You've definitely got a full service team here. So if you're working with another lender, I would love for you to give us a shot if you need any second opinions on anything, and yeah, let us lend you a hand.
Amy, one of the things that you've done in past presentations has also talked about what realtors can do, and/or for the consumers that are on in the presentation today, what they can do to maximize the opportunity of their their offer being accepted. Would you take just a quick moment and share that, what a lender can do to help in that process?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're an agent and you are submitting an offer, go ahead and CC your lender. Give them the heads up that you might be doing that, so then they know as soon as they see that email to pick up the phone and give the listing agent a call. And like I said, your lender could be the biggest advocate to get your buyer's offer accepted. So, and then that shows a lot to the consumer that you're going to go above and beyond to do whatever it takes to get their offer accepted. So, thank you, Todd.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your sponsorship today. And what I'd like to do is I'd just like to quickly give you an overview of what the day looks like, and then we'll get right into our first keynote presenter. The agenda for today will be that we'll start off with listening to our esteemed colleague, Dr. Yun, and then from that, we will take a quick break through another sponsor's presentation. We'll immediately go into Commissioner Lowe's presentation. Then we'll take another 10-minute break where there'll be no presentations. Coming back, we'll have another sponsor with a quick presentation, listen to Denise Halliday, Esquire, have her presentation, and then we'll have one last final sponsor and then speak with Mr. DeVille. So that is the agenda as planned for today. If we can finish in a little bit sooner time, if that's the way the conversations go, then we will do so. We're not going to demand that you're here until noon, but each presenter has something extremely unique and valuable in your business. So if you would indulge me just a moment, allow me an opportunity to introduce Dr. Yun. Dr. Lawrence Yun is the chief economist and senior vice president of research at the National Association of Realtors. He oversees and is responsible for a wide range of research activity for the association, including NAR's existing home sales statistics, affordability index, and home buyer and seller profile report. He regularly provides commentary on real estate market trends for our 1.4 million realtors. Dr. Yun creates NAR's forecasts and participates in many economic forecasting panels, among them the Blue Chip Council of the Wall Street Journal Forecasting Survey. He also participates in the Economist discussion group at the Joint Center for Housing Studies of Harvard University. He appears regularly on financial news outlets and is a frequent speaker at the real estate conferences throughout the United States and has testified before Congress. I'd like to introduce you, Dr. Lawrence Yun.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Todd, for the introduction. The real estate market has been a surprise in 2020. I guess 2020 is the year of surprises. The pandemic, the lockdown, the Supreme Court justice, you name it, so many surprises. But without a doubt, the real estate has been a surprise on the positive side, helping the economy and certainly the real estate being very vibrant. If we remember the first few weeks of the lockdown, and there is some talk about whether or not we will have a second lockdown. I guess it is state by state. I know in New Mexico, your nearby state imposed a lockdown just this week to say that realtors cannot show any homes. And I think in Oregon, they're considering, so whether it gets reintroduced in Arizona, it remains to be seen. But at least in the back in March, when we had the national lockdown, quite a scary time because first we did not know about the nature of the virus. We touch a doorknob, accidentally touch our face. Is that a death sentence? Because there was a lot of scary story out there. We saw television images, first coming from China, and then it went to Europe, where you had some Italian doctors who were treating COVID, and they were dying during the treatment process. So quite a scary time back then. And the second front was with the lockdown, how is realtor supposed to get their commission income if there's no business activity? So tremendous amount of concern. Well, now we are in mid-November, and what we know is, COVID is still dangerous. But as long as people follow the protocol, social distancing, washing of the hand, putting the mask on, especially two people putting the mask on. So if one person doesn't, the other person does, there's still some chance of transmission. But if two-person has the mask on, a very, very minimal chance of any transmission. So we have better understanding of that as well. And the medical advances where we have better treatment of people who are getting COVID and better survival rate from it. So a lot of surprises in 2020, but housing market, real estate is really doing well. And as an economist, I speak better with PowerPoint slides. So let me put that onto the screen. So bear with me as I do that. Hold 1 second. And all right. So let me put it on the slide mode. Okay, there we go. So let me first start with the US economy. GDP is the measurement of the total economic growth. And if you hear politicians, whether President Trump, Joe Biden, they will constantly mention the GDP number here and there. And what happened to the US in the second and third quarter is quite a off the chart situation. First, we had an off the chart collapse from the lockdown. And as the economy reopened, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, you name it, it bounced back. So we had a 30% decline followed by a 30% increase. Now, you may say we should be back to normal based on these figures. Looks like a V-shaped economic recovery. But the reality is that, especially if you have some high school age children, high school age kids, pose this question. Say you have $100, you lose 50%, and then you regain 50%. Are you back up to $100? And answer is no. So even though we went down 30, we went up 30, we are still down from what we had been. And we can clearly see in the employment figures. So the job number over the past 20 years looks like the following. In the middle of the chart, the slight hump that you see, that was an artificial job creation led by the subprime lending, where we gave mortgages for anyone with a heartbeat without checking their income documentation. Housing market boom at that time, artificial, because we know what happened. Foreclosure crisis, it imploded. We give mortgages for people who are not qualified, and we suffer the consequences. So we lost that job. But from the low point in 2010, America experienced the longest economic expansion ever, 10 straight years of job creation. And in a single month in April from the lockdown, we lost all that jobs. But as the economy reopened, you see some jobs recovering occurring, but we are only halfway there. We need another 10 million job creation to get us back up to normal. Look at the red line. This is the US. I put the red line to show year 2000, the foreclosure crisis, the lockdown, and now we are bouncing back. Because I want you to compare the US situation with Arizona. And here is Arizona. So you see that hump in the middle. Again, Arizona was pretty much ground zero for the subprime lending, crash, price declines, foreclosure, but then 10 straight years of job creation. Then you went down and now you are coming back up again, but consistently way above the red line, which means that job creation in Arizona is consistently above national average. Arizona does better in terms of business opportunity, companies moving into Arizona, people moving into Arizona. Even the retirees don't want a job, but if the retirees moves in, you need medical facilities, you need other service workers for support. So all this job creation reflecting the fact that Arizona is one of the top states for drawing new residents into the state. All 50 states situation looks like the following. This is a job situation now versus 1 year ago. Every state is down, but some states are down more than others. If you look at Nevada, it is down 9%, Hawaii down 18% because they are tourism related. If you don't have people doing the travel, then naturally you will be down. But then you have California down, Michigan down, Pennsylvania down, and New York down. Why? because they had a very strict lockdown and for longer period. So longer, stricter lockdown, they're down much more in terms of employment. While Arizona is doing much better because you reopen the economy sooner, but the Utah and Idaho, I mean, they're almost back to their prior normal. Once new data begin to come out, Idaho and Utah may actually be above 1 year ago in terms of total jobs because they're much more relaxed in terms of reopening the economy, what you can do, but it's coming at a cost. High number of new cases of coronavirus. So as you let people go interact, there's more cases. New York, at least it appears to be manageable, but it's coming at a tremendous cost in terms of lost jobs. Some of the New York City restaurant owners are saying they may be permanently down forever if this thing lasts for a couple of more months in terms of the lockdown period. So trade-off related to containing the virus versus employment. But one way to contain the virus is, again, social distancing measures, masks. And when people say, should real estate be an essential business? Well, New Mexico this week said no. Realtors, you cannot show any homes. No one can visit any homes in New Mexico. But please keep in mind, from my perspective, going to the grocery store is much more dangerous than private appointment to visit a home. So I would say that realtors following the good safety protocol would be far safer compared to going to grocery store, and people, every governor said going to the grocery store is considered essential business. So, you know, that's one of the things I think the Arizona Realtor Association, I think, would be communicating with the governor just in case if he was to consider locking down in Arizona. And also, even though the GDP, we are not back up, overall income situation, interestingly, is higher now compared to 1 year ago. And why is that? Because of the massive stimulus package. $1,200, you remember that those checks, additional amount if you have dependent family members, and the stimulus unemployment check, which was quite generous. Someone who lost a job at Macy's was panicking, and they received the unemployment check, and what do you know? It was higher than the wages they were receiving while working. So generous unemployment check, along with small business loan, which you don't have to repay if you meet certain criteria. So all that has boosted people's income. Yet the savings rates are very, very high today, because even though people receive the stimulus check, they did not spend it. They are saving the money, which is hinting that once the vaccine is available, and we know it's just around the corner, Pfizer, Moderna, I mean, you know, with 90% safety possibility, I mean, just right around the corner. So once the vaccine is widely distributed, the economy could really take off, given that high savings rate among many people, households, and they are ready to pump the money back into the economy. Now let's turn to the very good news of the housing market. This is the home sales from 2018 all the way to recently. You see that big U-shape or V-shaped type of situation. We went down, we are coming out, and home sales now are running higher compared to 1 year ago. I put that little arrow at the 2018 period to show modest, steady decline that occurred back in 2018. So home sales, this is for recent years. Let's look at the new home sales, what the builders, home builders are doing. Very similar situation. The recent data shows about 40% higher home sales now compared to 1 year ago. So September home sales about 40% higher compared to September of last year. Quite a remarkable. But you also see in 2018 some steady decline that occurred. Then pending contracts also breaking higher. I think it's 20 or 30% higher compared to 1 year before, which means that this winter may be one of the best winters you ever see. We can never compare to, say, spring buying season, but compared to other winters, could be one of the best based on the pending contracts. Also in 2018, you see some steady decline that occurred. Mortgage applications. What do realtors say to their clients to demonstrate seriousness? Get a mortgage approval. So people are applying for mortgages, and now it is up about 20% from 1 year ago. So people in the pipeline ready to hit the marketplace. There's a pipeline is full, it will be hitting the market. Spring buying season could be again, well, just continuing momentum. 2018 period, you also see the decline. So why did I put 2018 showing some steady decline? Just to illustrate that mortgage rate increased in 2018 from 4% to 5%. So the housing market is very sensitive to changes in mortgage rates. Back in 2018, economy was good. President Trump would have said economy was great. So even though economy is good, great, if the mortgage rates are rising, it will chip away at home sales. Now you see that how the mortgage rate has fallen, and right now it is at an all-time low in terms of mortgage rate. And this is the reason why the home buyers are rushing in, trying to take advantage of the record low mortgage rates. And this is the percentage of income dedicated for mortgage. And what we see back in 2018, it rose. And also in 2020, you see sort of moving sideways, even though mortgage rates are falling. And the reason why it is not falling is because home prices have risen so much. I mean, home prices are rising much faster than people's income growth. So even though mortgage rates are falling, you see that the percentage of income dedicated to mortgage payment is not really falling. And in fact, if the mortgage rates do not fall any further, and I don't anticipate it will decline any further, we are very happy with the current low interest rates, but we need to somehow tame the home price growth. And that can only come from increased supply. We need more inventory in the marketplace, and that would be the way to tame the home price growth and keep the home purchase reasonably manageable. And home price appreciation shows the following. One is Arizona, one is the US. So back in 2005, subprime lending days in Arizona, at one point, prices rose better than 30% before crashing in harsh foreclosure crisis. So the purple line is Arizona, US is the orange line, showing that Arizona, at least in the past, has been much more susceptible to greater volatility. But recent years, prices rising little faster than national average. And good news is that we don't have subprime lending. People have to qualify and the people have to stay within budget. So the mortgage underwriting standard is much better today compared to back in 2004, 2005 period. Because of the strong run-up in home prices, what we are seeing is that purple line is total real estate valuation. And total real estate valuation, as you can see, is rising and rising. The lower chart is the mortgage outstanding. And mortgages are not really rising as much. So there's quite a number of large down payment and also cash purchases. And hence mortgage amount is not really rising, even though overall home values are rising. So that gap is the housing equity, currently at $20.2 trillion, quite substantial. I am not calling for home prices to decline in any near term or medium term, meaning that for next couple of years, I don't see home prices declining. But if it was to decline, the housing market is well prepared to easily absorb that, especially for someone who had purchased 2, 3, 4 years ago. They have quite a sizable equity to handle any price decline, even though I don't anticipate the price decline. I just hope that prices rise more manageable, 3 to 5% rather than current 10% of price appreciation that you are experiencing. Why is the prices rising? For the simple fact we don't have inventory. This is the month's supply of inventory. The normal balance market would be, I would say, 5, 6 months, but right now it's under 3 months. I mean, that's why home prices are rising, multiple offer being quite prevalent. We simply don't have enough inventory. And are we going to get any inventory relief anytime soon? And answer is no, because we need home builders to get active. And housing start, the new home construction, what are we seeing? Well, it's been under the historical average, under the orange line for the past 10 years. the cumulative effect of underproduction is we have inventory shortage, especially in places like Arizona, where you have so many new residents coming in. You need to build more. So if you don't build more, you have a housing shortage, prices rising too quickly. It's good news for the homeowners, but it could potentially price out any first-time buyers who wants to take advantage of the low interest rates. And the one thing hindering the builders at the moment is the lumber prices have really skyrocketed, partly due to the strong housing demand. But the wildfires out in the West, the California wildfires, that is also leading to the restriction in supply and the tariff that was placed on Canadian lumber. So we've been talking to the White House staff to say, maybe temporarily reduce some of the tariffs on Canadian lumber so the home builders can get a little more active, given that we have a housing shortage. Another thing to consider for home building is the following: job losses. Job losses in the current environment has principally been people working in the hotel and in the restaurants. If you look at the finance insurance, they're actually creating jobs. So office employment, they're holding on reasonably well. But the frontline workers, hotel, restaurant, I mean, they're getting, really taking it on the chin, loss of jobs, very few customers, and hence, any income from tips are also very low. And so it's down. But if you look at the weekly earnings historically, what you find is that people working at a restaurant, retail sector, hotel, their wages are much below construction. So is there a way to train people into vocational training to go into construction? Because construction industry need more workers. And given we had large job losses in hotel and restaurants, maybe some people could take advantage of the vocational training to go into higher paying construction jobs. Something that will also fundamentally change in 2020 is this work from home and change in location preference. So first, office leasing activity is down tremendously. Even companies who are hiring, they're not getting new offices because people are working from home. So why do you need more office space if so many people are able to work from home? And if we look at also the US Postal Service, where they are requesting change of address from March to October. So March is the pandemic, and today, what we are seeing is New Jersey is getting a lot of benefits. So especially people moving out of Manhattan, they're going to New Jersey, but Arizona would always be in top 10. And you see it, let me see, New Jersey, South Carolina, Maryland, Iowa, Connecticut, Nevada, Arizona. So Arizona is always in top 10 in terms of change in address as to where the new address is. And then you see that, New York is the one biggest loser in terms of the current situation of people wanting to move out. And when we took survey of realtor members, also asked about their clients, where are they looking for home? And we are seeing a shift. Consumers are looking to buy a home out in the suburbs, smaller towns, away from urban centers. And when I say urban centers, think of the big major markets like Chicago, New York, San Francisco. This is where people are fleeing. Phoenix is a strange situation because you have miles and miles of like downtown spaces. So you don't have really an urban core. So I'm not sure what the dynamic is, but people in essence are saying they want to live further out if they don't have to go to office every single day. So we are seeing this change. Resort area should be less than 10%, but now picking up at 13%. So even the resort area seeing higher interest. And recent home sales, when we look at the counties that are typically more vacation home sales, like Lake Tahoe, the Jersey Shores, the Wisconsin lakes, we find that home sales are rising faster in vacation counties versus other areas. And therefore, if you can work from home, how would a boss know you are working from vacation home? So people are taking advantage of this work from home as work from vacation home. And Arizona certainly offers many areas where it caters to resort vacation destination. And Arizona, I think, will be one of the beneficiaries from this trend of working from home. So the forecast the way I see it is the economy in 2020, the middle column went down. Then it's going to pop out in 2021 because of the vaccine availability. Jobs, it will not be fully back up in 2021 because it will take some time for especially businesses who completely shut down, retail shop, to get back going again. So, but at least it's moving in the positive direction. Interest rate environment should be very favorable again, very little inflation, even with this massive stimulus. A lot of stimulus is coming from printing of the money. Printing of the money means future inflation, but not in 2021 or even 2022. It's further down, maybe 5, 6, 7 years from now, we may have higher inflation, but not right away. As to the housing market, the mortgage rate should be again favorable in 2021, maybe topping a little above 3%. I know it's been averaging about 2.7 recently, but these are modest change, nothing alarming. New home sales will just fly off. Builders build it, easy to sell. Existing home sales in 2020, remarkable. Spring buying season was not there, yet the second half is so strong that we should squeak out a 3% gain. And then 2021, this work from home phenomenon. People living in LA, people living in many California market will be wondering, why am I in California when I can work from home in Arizona, more affordable home prices, I can buy a mansion, and also maybe less income tax. In California, there's a large income tax, so maybe you will begin to see many more people flowing in. Twitter has announced to their employees, you can work from home forever. So why stick around in San Francisco when one can buy a mansion in Arizona? Facebook believes half of their employees could possibly work from home. So again, I think this will greatly benefit Arizona. Prices in no danger of declining, rising, hopefully in a more manageable way, so it does not deny the first-time buyers the opportunity. Let me go to my final slide, which is Biden presidency. I'm being a little presumptuous in saying because the election still need to be certified. President Trump should pursue all the avenue to assure that all the voting meet the integrity standards. If there was an odds at Las Vegas as to who will occupy the White House in 2021, I think 99% chance that it will be Joe Biden. So what has he introduced regarding some of the plan related to real estate? He wants to introduce homebuyer tax credit, $15,000, essentially available at closing, which means it's a down payment assistance program. I'm sure there will be some income phase out, meaning that millionaires do not qualify, but moderate income families could qualify. So we'll see what that is, how that plays out. But trying to give additional demand stimulus at a time when we don't have supply, I mean, that is it's going to further raise the home prices unless we bring more supply. So how do we bring more supply? Well, something that President Joe Biden has introduced regarding 1031 exchange removal. This will be very bad. So we will be communicating to the Biden campaign about how terrible it will be to remove 1031 exchange, because 1031 exchange is currently being used to sell land to home builders so we can build more homes. So if that is removed, it will certainly lead to more restricted supply situation. I would think that Joe Biden will appoint more Federal Reserve governors who are more tolerating of looser monetary policy, which means higher inflation in future years, and also possibly bigger fiscal stimulus, including extending the mortgage forbearance period, which is scheduled to end in March of 2021, but that could be extended assuming the job market really does not come around at that point. And the lockdown, are they going to be a national lockdown to contain the virus, or trying to say, be careful, put the mask on, and in some areas where there was a crowded activity, maybe they try to restrain it, but we have to wait and see of it. But thank you for listening. Overall, I would say real estate market looks to be bright as we go into 2022, quite a positive surprise. And I think the momentum will carry on. So thank you for the opportunity. And now I will turn it back over to Todd.
Dr. Young, do you see Arizona, of course, is a significant resort entertainment community? Do you see those hotel restaurant jobs returning, at least for these resort states, these resort areas?
Oh, well, the vaccine, I mean, that will be the key game changer. And we know that hopefully by spring of next year, everything normalizes. I think people are just simply tired of just staying home all the time. So I think there could be even a travel additional boost. Just, people really want to travel, which they have been postponing, but it's really about the vaccine. And like the Sedona market, where especially the tourism in Arizona tend to be more spread out, more social distancing, one can say, compared to going to Orlando or say, going to San Francisco or New York. So at least Arizona, automatically you have more social distancing type of travel.
As far as the slide that you showed regarding the equity gain, you purported it as a percentage of income. Housing affordability ratios are a percentage of income. Are houses actually more affordable to buy today as a percentage of income than they were, say, maybe 20 years ago or 10 years ago?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, I have to recheck on that condition, but 20 years ago, in the year 2000, mortgage rates were 8%. Then it began to go down to 6%, and people said, wow, this is amazing, 6% mortgage rate. But then we made a mistake of the subprime lending. But today, with a sound underwriting lending, mortgage rate to be at under 3%, these are just remarkable once in a lifetime opportunity to take advantage.
Just one last question. Obviously I understand your time is limited, and thank you again for taking the time that you did to do this presentation for us today. As consumers and realtors look to 2021 and building their own personal business plans, I did see that you said that they should forecast a 6 to 9% growth, in their business plan. If the market's going to give them 6 to 9%, and they do 6 to 9%. Really, they didn't do anything individually to promote their market. They basically were on the coattails of that success pattern. What could someone do as a realtor to be able to potentially, and I understand this is way probably outside your wheelhouse, but from what NAR and you're having conversations about, what could be done, or what should they look to do, or any insight that you could provide, maybe coming even from your home seller, home buyer report that you extrapolate and put that information, which, by the way, the new one is now available. So everybody should go to realtor.org and pick up the newest version of the home buyer, home seller report. Is there any little tidbit that you might be able to provide that could help us in that future forecasting of our own business?
Well, the real estate, at least from the agent perspective, it is highly competitive. Over 1 million, in fact, 1.4 million realtors trying to do their own business model. We find that 80-20 rules still apply, that 20% of realtors do about 80% of the business. 1/3 of the realtors, they struggle through. They make less than $20,000 in gross commission income, and then they drop out, and we have more people coming in. But people who are doing well, consistently getting that 6-figure commission income a year, they have a very good recommendation from their past clients, referral base. So it's all about serving their clients' best need and using every opportunity to get that recommendation, referrals, the next person. One of the unique part of the Arizona is you have so many new residents coming in. How much of a tie do they come in, say, from Chicago to now? Is that Chicago realtor recommendation to someone in Arizona, is that make a difference? Or the fact that people are coming in as a free agent, so this is your time to sort of cultivate some relationship. So I'm not sure, but Arizona is very, very unique in that respect. And I have become a fan of Arizona Cardinals football team because just in case people do not know, Kyler Murray, he is half Korean. I'm Korean, I'm a Korean American. So I've been pulling for Arizona Cardinals all this time.
That's awesome. I want to thank you so very, very much for your presentation and taking the time today. If there's ever anything, of course, we can do for you here in Arizona to assist in any way, we're always here for you. We're gracious, and thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you. And I saw Judy Lowe on the screen, so I want to thank Judy Lowe for all her service for the Real Estate Commission. I've known her as a terrific person, so I'm glad that you have her coming up. But thank you everyone for the time, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so very, very much. Wow. I don't know about you guys, but the rest of our attendees, but I've got goosebumps. I have a tendency to listen to someone like this and formulate my own personal opinion on where I think the market's going. This is good stuff. I mean, just something that we would not be able to have listened to. Those of you who participate in your local association committees, AAR directors, NAR directors, we know that we have an opportunity when we go to national to hear him speak and to receive his data, and for the non realtor volunteer for those associations, you don't normally get that. So this was a huge opportunity for us to hear directly from NAR and the chief economist, and boy, what a super opportunity this is. That home buyer, home seller report is absolutely instrumental to the success of your business. If you've never seen it before, you need to go take a look at it. They do a highlights version of it for you that you can download for free. And then even the report itself in its entirety with graphs and charts and things of this nature that support the conversation or the illustrations that support the content is very easy to understand and is easy for you to share with your consumers when they have certain particular questions of you, because how we answer those questions has a lot to do with the information that they are using to make their decisions. Again, not to overplay that particular part, but get the home buyer, home seller report. It's dramatically imperative to your business. We have now another sponsor. We have Cynthia Shiren from American Title Agency. And Cynthia, would you like to take it away for us, please?
Certainly, I'd love to. Thank you, Todd. Wow, what really great information from Dr. Yun, right? It's, we've just been so fortunate out here, I think, in Arizona in our industry, like he had stated. New Mexico, they're not even showing homes right now. So I know that I am thankful every day that our industry is super strong out here in Arizona. So us at American Title, we are getting your escrows closed, as well as helping you and supporting you in building your business. We have several offices all throughout the Valley with the top escrow officers in the industry. We also have bundled escrow fees, which means that we do not have junk fees included in the cost. So the escrow fee is all incorporated with all of the fees bundled. And we are still doing signings in office as well as outside of our office using a notary whenever needed. So if you are currently using American Title, you're choosing American Title for your title and escrow services, we truly thank you. If you would like more information about American Title and how we can help you build your business and get those escrows closed, I'd love an opportunity to speak with you. But I also wanted to add, be sure that you guys are speaking with your clients about wire fraud, especially now. It's real and it's out there. So make sure that your clients are actually calling the title company and confirming the escrow or the wire instructions before they're sending their money. Super important right now.
Yeah, thank you, Cynthia. That absolutely is. Do you guys provide for agents the salutation at the end that has any comments in it that say, I will never ask you for wiring instructions or send you wiring instructions, anything along that line that you provide your the agents that utilize your services?
Absolutely. We're definitely happy to provide that verbiage for you guys to add, especially in the signature on your email, as well as a custom email signature. If you don't have that already, we'd be happy to.
Awesome. And everybody should have it, just FYI. You should have something on your email that says that. Because this is a huge thing. It just happened again a few weeks ago in the industry. Another client almost lost $30,000. Should have lost it for all practical purposes, but fortunately the wire didn't make it within the time frame it was supposed to have been in order to have the wire transfer that same day, and that gave them, fortunately, the investigators and the title company, the escrow service company, an opportunity to turn that around. So thankful for them, they saved their $30,000, but this is a nightmare. So please do all you possibly can to alert your consumers, your clients, not to be very, very cautious with wiring instructions. In fact, I always recommend, to our realtors that they pick up the phone, call their client and say, listen, don't be misinformed by, a wiring instruction. Pick up the phone and call title, call the escrow service agency and ask them, did you send this to me? Is this legitimate? Before they do anything. So thank you, Cynthia. I really appreciate that very, very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Todd?
Yes, did somebody have a question?
In the chat, there was somebody verifying the website for the home buyer and home seller reports.
I think Brandy sent it in. Yes. So she sent it to everybody. So in your chat, Brandy, thank you so much, Brandy Davidson. She provided the link directly to the home buyer and home seller report for you guys to make it easy to obtain. Thank you so much for doing that. In addition, we did have a couple of questions about recording. You are not able to record anything today. I should have started off that way, and I apologize. However, we are recording it, and we will be providing excerpts and putting that onto YouTube. So if you guys follow the westusa.youtube.com/West USA Realty, you will see the playlist up there. It will be there within a day or so. As far as the reasoning behind it is, I have not asked any of our guests for permission to share on purpose. I want them to be free and be willing to tell us exactly what they do believe based on their experience without repercussion of us being able to record this. However, they did give us permission to do so. In addition to that, you can take screenshots, snapping it. You're more than welcome to do that if you'd like. But again, most of this information will still be available online at YouTube.